Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of TCG Talk, back today with another video. And in today's video, we're going to be doing the Scarf for a Scarf giveaways. Finally, I'm sorry about the delay for both Blue Sky, or all three, Blue Sky, Twitter, and the Discord. And then we're going to be going over the Assassin daggers that were spoiled, kind of talk about them, give my general takes, and yeah, go from there. We're going to have a fun time, just kind of talk about things. If you're new to the channel, welcome. Thank you so much for stopping by. Hopefully enjoy your stay. If you're a long-staying supporter, thank you so much as always. Feel free to check out the Discord down below, all that good stuff, and we'll get right into it. So before we get into the Scarf for Scarf giveaways, I'm doing 2 per platform, so 6 total play sets. I gave a lot away to locals, which is normally what I do with these type of cards. I do it to my locals because I feel like it's really fun. But we are going to give away 2 of those. I want to say sorry for the lack of videos. I just started a new job, a new career, and it really ramped up right the first couple weeks at the start of the new year. So I really just wanted to put my focus into that. So I apologize. Had nothing to do with timing of my previous couple of videos or even holidays or anything like that. On top of that, I was sick as a dog. This is now the 3rd Christmas in a row that I was deathly sick. It's getting old, but regardless, sorry for the lack of videos. It's not for lack of effort or desire. It's literally just life, right? It happens. So we're gonna get right into it again. We're gonna have spoiler season coming up. We have our spoiler coming up next week. It's gonna be a fun one. Gonna put out a little teaser here and there this week. It kind of give you all excited for that. But we'll stop stalling, not really stalling, but stop rambling and go with the giveaways. So I did this just so people know it's legit. I always like to show, if I ever do a giveaway, I like to show it on screen. But we have the Blue Sky here. We had 50 results on Blue Sky. That's pretty nuts. That's a lot. Thank you all so much for your participation in that. On X or Twitter, we had 23 results, or 23 entries, and then on Discord, we had 26. So people could enter in multiple ones. You can't win multiple times, but you could enter in multiple formats. So we're going to do this really fast. When I get the winner, I'm going to write it down literally on stream or on the video right now so I don't forget, and I'll reach out to you. So please have your DMs open. Follow me back if you're on one of these sites and we haven't followed each other yet, so I can get your information and send you out your stuff. So for Blue Sky with 50 entries, the winner is who's it gonna be? Oh, the Armpit. Nice. Armpit is a long-time follower of the channel, really cool human, so we're gonna do that. Armpit, I'm gonna reach out to you. Also, some of your names here, I took some of your ats. If you just had a generic name, like if it was Bob or whatever and that was it, Bob at Flesh and Blood, I used your at, but I tried to use your general names. Okay, that was for Blue Sky. For X or Twitter, we have 23 entries, a little bit easier to win here. Who are we gonna get? And I'm sorry if I butcher your names like this one. DTOHZH, I'm gonna be reaching out to you on Twitter to get your information so I can send it. If you are international, we'll work it out. I'll figure it out. I didn't like preface that in the original post. So if you are international for any reason, I can do that. And then Discord, again, join the Discord. We have a really good group, really fun, just kind of casually talking about the game, having some fun. So definitely, go down below and join that. And the 4, I think your name is the 4. And if it is, then please let me, if it's not, then please let me know. But that is Discord. So those are the 3 winners. Oh, we have 2 winners per one. I'm so dumb. We're going to do this all again really fast. So this is Blue Sky. We now have a second winner for this one. And it is going, Armpit was close again. Who's it going to be? Raheel Khalid. I hope I'm saying that correct. You are the second winner for Blue Sky. Right here. We're going to write all these down so we do not forget them. I could go back and just watch this, but I don't know. In the moment, it's been easier just to write it down. And then for X, our second winner is... Oh, it's close. Crayon NYA is going to be the second winner here. We'll go ahead and write you down. That way we can get you going. And then the final one for the Discord. Sorry about that, y'all. We went through, I mean, I guess either way, it was kind of the same cadence. We have, Big Hungry. Really, really good friend of the channel, Big Hungry. Glad you got to win. Big Hungry's been a really good supporter in multiple ways of the channel. Really appreciate all y'all's support. So those are the winners. If I end up getting any more of these, I'll definitely give them away. But I thought that was really fun. So we'll get right into the second part. So while I've been gone in my absence, we had the base weapons spoiled for all 3 heroes. I'm not going to go over so much Obsidian, Firevein, and even Kunai of Retribution. I know I'm a ninja player, but Draconic Ninja has... Syndra may end up really intriguing me a little bit, but typically Draconic Ninja is just pure damage. It's not as much finesse, which I know I've barked at about this channel for a while with me and why I enjoy Katsu, and I don't enjoy Zen or Fi as much because they're just kind of pure damage decks. But regardless, if Syndra ends up intriguing me more, maybe we'll do a recap video on Kunai and like what it means for the deck. But right now, I'm really just focused on the assassin stuff. We had 2 assassin daggers spoiled, Mark of the Huntsman, as well as Graphene, Chelicera. I know I'm saying that incorrectly, so I'm just going to say Graphene so I don't upset anybody in the comments. But the first one for Kunai Retribution, but then we have Mark of the Huntsman. So this is really cool. I really love this dagger. It's an ode to Arachne, the original Arachne, which I think is really cool. If you notice, it's just an assassin weapon. It's not a chaos locked, so technically any assassin can play this. Once per turn, action, pay 2 resources, attack with go again. When it hits a hero, you may choose to destroy this and mark them. That text is important. We'll talk about why in a second. If this is attacking a marked hero, it gets +1. So it's a 2 for. It's basically a Graven Call that will. It destroys the mark if it hits, technically, right? Hold on a second. Let me read marked off the top of my head. I'm not going to redo this video. You're marked until an opponent hits you. So it's not an attack action card or anything like that. So this does hit. It's going to destroy the mark, which is really interesting. But then you can destroy it to remark them. This is a really interesting weapon. It doesn't have any severe on hits, and that's kind of the first thing I want to bring up as we go into Graphene as well. And I have notes written down here so I didn't forget stuff. But one of the interesting things about both of these daggers is we're going away from making the opponent's blocks worse and going more towards just value and setting up for other things. It's kind of like flipping the use of daggers on its head a little bit from what we're used to. We're used to using daggers to make opponents' blocks worse. We're not really using daggers other than Graven Call in order to just get pure value. I guess Beckoning Mistblade is a little bit better for value on our side, but not as much. So these daggers, at a base, your opponent really never wants to block these. I mean, your opponent never wants to block Mark of the Huntsman if they're marked. They're just going to let it hit because it destroys the mark and forces you to destroy the dagger. So it could just be a free 2 damage if you want to do that. And same thing with Graphene. Like, this is a potentially a 1-for-1 go again. That can be buffed because it has stealth, and we'll talk about that here in a second. But overall, these daggers, your opponent never really wants to block. So it's going to be interesting to see how much we use these daggers. I mean, Graphene right now can only be acquired one way, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it's going to be interesting to see because, like, for example, Arachne Solitary Confinement, and this is going to be more of a discussion-based thing, so please leave your comments down below. I'd love to hear it. But Arachne Solitary Confinement doesn't really use daggers that much. It's really pitchless, right? You're using those go-agains, you're using things like that. You're kind of just playing your cards out, whereas like Arachne Huntsman really likes to use their daggers in order to be effective, and Uziri is a little bit in between, and same thing with New. So this one, it's going to be interesting to see how much we use this. But the biggest question, and the first question I had with this card is, with this equipment or weapon, gosh, all tripped up today, with this weapon is, how much can we bring it back? Right now, the only way we can bring this card back is Concealed Blade. It's the only way we know to bring it back, right? So are we going to get 1 or 2 more Concealed Blade-like effects? I hope we do. I really do, because for me, this, I was hoping we were going to get a dagger that's basically this, but it doesn't destroy. It's a 2-for-1 that says if this hits, maybe you pop a silver. That's what I was really hoping. I was really hoping that they would mix Contract and Stealth in this set, make silver, and then you could pop 1 silver to mark a hero. I thought that'd be really, really cool. Like you buy your mark or whatever, like for your next contract, but it is what it is. the fact that this destroys makes it really hard because it's basically a one-time mark if you can't get it back. You could use this almost like how people not used to, but at one point we're trying to use flick knives in order to guarantee a beckoning mistblade hit, which would guarantee go again on your next attack off a new activation. You could have that same line of thinking with Mark of the Huntsman, being able to flick knives it in order to mark it, and we'll talk about the rules for that in a second, in order to guarantee that mark, could destroying the dagger. But overall, like if you can't bring this back, this dagger is just, in my opinion, very bad. We'll see. We don't know the whole card pool yet, but in the current moment, if you cannot bring this card back, it's just really bad. The one good thing about this dagger is on turns where you have transformed, so you transformed the turn prior, you went on defense, came back to offense, no matter who you're on, you're going into that turn most of the time, unless we have something crazy, with your opponent marked. Because if you marked them somehow in a different way, when you end the turn marked the way Arachne reads, right? We'll scroll back up here for a second. At the beginning of your end phase, if an opponent is marked, you become a random agent of chaos. So you transform. So this automatically is going to get the +1 going into your opponent's turn. So you really don't care if you destroy the mark or not because you're going to return to the brood anyway. So this becomes on transform turns, this becomes a Graven Call, which can be good for value. People don't realize how much that actually helps over the course of a long game. So that could be nice. You could just use this as a Graven Call off of mark turns, which is kind of cool, and then just flick it when you absolutely need that mark in certain situations. But overall, I hope they have a Concealed Blade-like effect. The other thing about this dagger that really sucks, in my opinion, is it doesn't have piercing. Like, if you're going to force me to destroy it in order to get that mark, and maybe not be able to get it back the rest of the game, at least give it piercing. Like, at least give it an ability to, like, threaten a little bit more. I don't know. That's just my thought. I'm sure they tested it, and there's a reason for it. But maybe it will come back pretty often. But no piercing kind of sucks. Like, Beckoning Mistblade doesn't have piercing, but Beckoning Mistblade also stays in your equipment the entire game. And this all goes back to how much can we mark? And that's the one thing we don't know, and I don't think we're going to know until the world premiere, because I think all of the marking mechanic stuff is in the common and rare slot, and we're not going to see that in spoiler season. We might see it in the sealed primer, so we might get a little lucky there. But overall, how much can we mark? If we can mark very consistently, even without this weapon, then this weapon's pretty good, right? It gives us that guaranteed mark when we need it. If the marking is even semi-inconsistent, Arachne Marionette's just going to fold. But in my opinion, all three heroes are going to kind of fold. So I don't think that's going to happen. I'm still hopeful, but this brought a lot of questions rather than answers. Also, this being a generic assassin, just as a side note, it'll be interesting to see if the marked stuff is not chaos locked and it's also playable in like Huntsman or Uziri or whatever. Because, like, if it isn't, because this is just a generic assassin weapon, maybe they're trying to keep it open for design purposes in the future. That's also possible. But regardless, this is very interesting. I want to see what this happens. So one of the things with the rules clarification, this is Joshua Scott, Moonlight Solace in the Purple Discord, the lead head judge for LSS. Basically, for anyone that doesn't know who they are, Brian and James will make the set or be leaders of making the set. And then they just give the cards to Josh and say, does this work? Can we break this? Like, amongst other things, Josh is basically the law when it comes to rules for LSS. So, Yo Team, so to clarify how mark of the Huntsman works, the card uses you may choose to instead of you may. This is going to be syntax that allows you to optionally generate effects without the requirement that the effects would resolve successfully. In other words, it's a you may, but without requirements. So this means you can mark a hero by flicking the dagger with flick knives. The dagger is destroyed before the trigger resolves, but you can still choose to mark the hero. So if it just said you may destroy this if you do X happens, then you could potentially, they had to change the wording so that way you could resolve the part where it says when this hits a hero, you may choose to destroy this and mark them. Even if it's already destroyed from flick knives, because flick knives says that the dagger is hit, it is destroyed, you still can mark them. If they didn't according to Josh, I'm not like super in depth. This hurts my brain reading this, but you can destroy the dagger even if the hero is marked. The hero is marked from another effect before the trigger resolves, but you still may choose to destroy the dagger. The above is the reason why we don't have a if you do sequence or a regular you may in the syntax. Basically, they had to change it to you may choose to destroy this and mark them. So that way you could still mark off of a Flick Knives activation. Also saying, for clarification, marking with a normal non-flicked hit is contingent on destroying. It is not contingent on destroying, i.e. marking is not dependent on destroying. The key is that if you choose to mark, you destroy the dagger and mark the hero. In the regular case, it is close but not equivalent to when it hits a hero, you may destroy this if you do mark them. The deviation is that mark of the Huntsman works with flicking effects. So all of this crazy in-depth rules, the only thing you need to know is they changed the wording to when this hits a hero, you may choose to destroy this and mark them. That way it works with Flick Knives. It's one of those rules in Flesh and Blood because I am not amazing with rules. I'm good enough to where I can teach people, but like this is one of those things where if I was sitting at a LGS on a local armory night, I could tell you, I can't explain to you in the trigonometry way of why it works that way. I just know it works that way, and we can look up the rules if you want to. That's basically, you know that they changed the wording of Mark of the Huntsman so that you can Flick Knives it and still get the mark. That's what you got to know. So hopefully that made somewhat sense. If not, please screenshot this, send it to your friends, and then we'll go from there. Next one is Graphene. So Graphene is really interesting. It's a stealth dagger, which is really cool. It's also an assassin token weapon, so it's not chaos locked. Once per turn action, pay 1 resource to attack. When this attacks a marked hero, the attack gets go again. So right now, the only way this can be made is through this demi-hero Arachne Orb Weaver. Graphenes cost you 1 less to activate, so on the turn that you transform in this, your Graphene is for free. It's a 0 resources for 1 go again free. Once per turn instant, discard an assassin card, equip a Graphene token. Your next attack with stealth this turn gets +3. So basically an instant speed at the start of turn before you do anything. If you have an open weapon slot, you can go get the Graphene. So basically you would flick your Flick Knives in the turn that you transform into this, or you would already have flicked it at a previous time and be able to get this in your next attack with stealth gets +3. Now keep in mind, because it says stealth and it says your next attack, not attack action, that can mean Graphene. So Graphene could essentially be a 0 for 4 go again when it's attacking a marked hero. If you haven't attacked them yet, again, if you're transforming, that means they're marked. So going into your transform turn, they're already marked unless they found a way for you to make you hit them on their turn, which is crazy. But once per turn action, attack when this attacks a marked hero, the attack gets go again. I just thought about that. Someone could technically, I think, Flick Knives themselves. I have to double check that because it says target hero. Like Flick Knives doesn't say. Really quick, I just had an epiphany mid video. Once per turn attack reaction, target dagger you control that isn't on the active chain link deals 1 damage to target hero. I believe that means you could target yourself. So technically you get rid of the mark on your turn, but that's a totally different discussion. It's only with certain heroes, and now when you know if it would be worth it to flick away a weapon just to get rid of your mark, but here nor there. So Graphene's really interesting. Again, no on hit. Just like we were talking about Mark and the Huntsman, these daggers are more value based and less so like helping you make blocks worse. What's one thing interesting about this? It is a 4 go again with no on hit, because if you equip it and you're in the Orb Weaver turn, your next stealth tag is +3, so you basically could do a 0 for 4 go again, but it doesn't have an on hit, and to me that feels bad. I don't want to use the +3 on a dagger because you have to in order to do that you have to discard an assassin attack. Let's go back to where we were. Discard an assassin card, not attack. Equip Graphene token. Your next attack with stealth this turn gets +3. So you're getting rid of a whole stealth card that potentially has an on hit or reaction itself, just to give your dagger that has no on hit a +3. Like even a very simple stealth card, like if I'm going to get rid of an infect, a red infect, which essentially could be a 0 for 5 if it hits, in order to give my dagger that doesn't have an on hit +3, you know what I mean? Like it's really weird. It is really nice if you want to get rid of a blue. that isn't doing much for you in that turn. That could be really good because essentially that 0 for 1 blue is now turning into a 0 for 3. It's basically acting as a red almost, so that is nice. But overall, I just wouldn't want to use my buff on the dagger. That just doesn't make sense to me, right? So you're wanting to basically equip it, attack with something else that potentially has go again, and then attack with your graphene potentially. Or you could just do a 0 for 4 graphene into something else. But again, not having any disparaging on hits on your daggers could feel really bad because after that turn, this just becomes a 0 for 1 no go again that if it's marked, it does get go again. The one good thing about this card, and sorry I'm jumping here, is this card counts for all of the demi hero on hit effects. So Black Widow says, discard assassin card, target assassin attack gets +3. If it has stealth, when it hits a hero, banish a card from their hand. So essentially your graphene now can trigger all those on hit effects. It can trigger Black Widow's discarded from hand. It can trigger Funnel Web's discard from arsenal. It can trigger Redback's go again. So it's just a 1 for 4 go again. It can get +3 from Tarantula, stuff like that. So that is really nice. So getting one of these equipped in the early game somehow could be really cool because then now your dagger threatens all those on hits. You don't necessarily need an attack. And if the hero is marked going into your transform turn, you're essentially saying here is a 1 for 4 dagger that if you do not, respect it, then I'm going to use my once per turn attack reaction and get that on hit. So that is really cool. The thing about this is you're going to have to decide between value and block disruption with your daggers. Being able to flick knives and mark with Huntsman, then play into this could also be really cool. So there's a whole bunch of things. The biggest thing with me is there a way to equip this other than the demi hero? Because this is a really powerful piece of equipment, so I understand why you can't start the game with it. It is token rarity, which is why you can't. So unless they have another common rarity like Hyperdriver, you're not going to be able to start the game with this. But a 1 in 6 chance, a random 1 in 6 chance to get this dagger can feel really bad. So hopefully there's like 1 or 2 more ways to make it. Some of the rules clarifications with Graphene is a token, so it cannot be included in your card pool, and therefore it cannot be equipped during the start game procedure. Uziri can swap this out because it is considered an attacking card with stealth. There's going to be a rules update clarifying this. When that happens, it simply ceases to exist because tokens cease to exist outside of the arena. And since it's not like Fang Strike or Slither, it's not the same concept. So if you attack with this, if Uziri can play it or somehow equip it, I'm assuming Uziri is going to have a way to equip it, because why else would they? I mean, I guess you could put this rule in here just for future proofing, but there's got to be another way to equip it. Otherwise, why would you address this now? That means there's got to be a card that Uziri is going to be able to play that's not a demi hero that allows you to equip this card. That's just my opinion. But regardless, it will cease to exist. So you attack with this card, you can flip into it, banishing it, which then it'll cease to exist, and then you'll put in a 6 power, 2 cost 6 power basically. The set number is 53. Here's the full size image for convenience. So really, really interesting. We'll see what other cards we get in order to equip this. I think we are going to get a couple. It's going to be really interesting to see. But yeah, my 3 biggest question marks is, 1, how easy can we freaking mark an opponent? Because right now our weapons don't consistently mark because we only have a one-time use with Mark of the Huntsman, which kind of sucks. And that's the only really way we've seen so far. But the whole hero is based around marking, so there's got to be more ways to do it. I hope we get a legendary that allows us to like pay a silver or something, or do something consistently to mark on hits, or just give us like consistent ways to do it. That's a big thing for me. Can we bring this dagger back? Are they going to give us more concealed blade-like effects? I want to see that. And then the final one is, what other ways can Graphene be equipped other than just the 1 in 6 random chance of a demi hero? Because it just needs to. Like, it's too niche, in my opinion, for this powerful of an effect. And it makes it a little bit too swingy. So we'll have to see. Let me know what your thoughts are. I know that was a lot of information. I was a little bit all over the place, but it's hard to, with stuff like this, like you're just kind of, thinking at the hip like everyone is in spoiler season. Really excited to see the spoilers this upcoming week. We should see a sealed primer. I'm assuming this weekend before spoilers start. Probably Friday is my guess, like a week before the premiere. it would just give people a week to like see things, and then we get the spoiler season next week, and then go into the world premiere. But let me know what your thoughts are down below. I'm super excited for Marionette. Again, this is the first set where I don't think I'm going to buy boxes. I'm just going to buy Marionette stuff. Like, I'd rather spend, like, a case, right? Like, let's be real, is like 400 USD-ish. I would rather spend that money, if I have the ability to spend that much money, on like all the Marvels and like just the key cards I need, rather than just get 4 random boxes. So that's what I'm probably going to do. But let me know what your thoughts are on these heroes. If you're excited for Syndra or Fang, both of their weapons look really good. I just want to focus on the assassin stuff today. But yeah, thank you all so much. Hopefully you'll have a great rest of your day. If you like this type of content, please leave a like, comment, or subscribe. If you didn't, that's totally fine. I now have a link to the content creator sheet down below. I'm constantly trying to update that. Go find another content creator, support their stuff. Let's get more people seeing this game, and I'll see y'all next time on TCG Talk. Thank y'all so much.